Hi, this is Dr. Geneva, and welcome again to another fabulous conversation with someone who's just vibrant. You know, the thing about vibrancy, it just oozes out of you, and I just love it. And I just want to figure out all the kinds of ways that we can capture it and bottle it and pop open the top and use it all the time. So that's why I'm always on a mission to talk to vibrant women. And so today I have one of the top vibrant women, Lisa Whitmore Davis, who's here with us. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hey, Dr. Geneva, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, wow. You know, doesn't she look beautiful? I just love it. And she just told me that she had just turned 53. And so
Yeah.
I asked her, well, what's that mean? How you feel? And she was just getting ready to tell me about Humpty Dumpty. So let's listen in. So go ahead.
At 53, I feel just reinvigorated. I have a 30-year-old daughter, which is unbelievable. And I said, I got to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So in 53, I'm really, really leaning forward and intentionally on my personal health.
Okay.
It seems like I'm going to the doctor a lot, but maybe
Mhm.
it's because I didn't go to the doctor enough in other
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
And we'll talk more about that in my caregiving journey. But now that I'm really, really turning inward, I'm just trying to get myself together. What I take into my body, physically, mentally, I'm trying to be more particular about it. Eating clean, eating the still fit way, and more exercise. My husband asked me, what did I want for my 53rd birthday? Drum roll.
Okay.
I wanted a membership at the gym.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yes.
And he was like, that's all? I said,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I go faithfully at
Mhm.
least 3 times a week.
Mhm.
And I'm accountable through some of my social media networks, but then I write it on the board, a
Mhm.
3X. And every time I go in, I put a check, and they don't erase the board for that
Okay.
week. And it
Okay.
makes me feel good to know at least 3 times a week I go in there and put in 2 hours just for Lisa.
Mhm. Mhm. And how does it so it makes you feel different than you used to feel?
53, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I enjoyed my 40s.
Mhm.
I my 50s came in a whirlwind, and I'll say the first 3 years, 2.5 years of my 50s, I was deeply involved in caregiving, caring for my dad.
Okay.
And my father just passed away January
Mhm.
29th. So 53, I'm going into it by myself because both my
Mhm.
mother and my father are deceased.
Mhm.
And caregiving for him as an aging professional, as well as a daughter and the baby and the
Mhm.
love
Mhm.
baby, because my
Mhm.
parents used to call me Oops because I was like 14 years younger than my older sister and brother.
Okay.
It's different.
Mhm.
I just feel different. I feel like it's okay to, as I was sharing with you earlier, I don't even want to use the word selfish,
Mhm.
but I'm just really trying to focus in on myself, not even focusing on my daughter. She's 30. She's super
Mhm.
grown now, as she
Okay.
likes to say. And caring for my husband. We've been married for almost 15 years now.
Mhm.
I just said, this is really my time. So if
Mhm.
I had a soundtrack playing right now, that
Mhm.
song,
Mhm.
it's my time to shine,
Mhm.
the song I'm
Mhm.
talking about,
Mhm.
that would be kind of the song that I would play because it is my time, and I feel I've kind of earned it a little, but
Okay.
also I, I feel comfortable and leaning into it. I don't feel guilty,
Mhm.
and I need to, because I want to live another good 40 years. I want to be fine like
Mhm.
you.
Well,
I want
listen,
to be fine like
hey.
you, and all the wonderful older adult women that I
Mhm.
encounter in my work life and even my personal life.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things are you doing? Okay, so we know you're going to the gym.
Yes.
And I heard you talk about that self-care and selfish, and I believe, and my viewers who stay with me for any amount of time know that I believe that self-care ain't selfish.
Right.
that
Right.
it should be part of what we do every day, like a routine, so that getting a massage is nothing special because it's what you do 2-3 times a week if you want, or whatever, but it's part of a natural regular routine. So you're working out, you looking at that self-care. What else is happening?
Wow. I'm enjoying life, taking life at a slower pace. I'm
Okay.
doing a lot of reflection, looking at
Mhm.
myself and looking at even using my social media to track all the things that I did in the last couple of years, and the work pace and the personal activity pace that I was on. I've slowed down. I'm no
Mhm.
longer the rabbit. I'm trying to
Mhm.
live like the turtle.
Mhm.
And in
And what
doing,
is it about that turtle life
oh,
that makes you want to live like that now?
um, sleep.
Okay.
uh,
So you're gonna get some sleep for a change, huh?
Sleep. Um, Cooking at home, enjoying my home. We're here today in my living room.
Mhm.
I'm a teleworker, but believe it or not, I didn't spend a lot of time here at home working. I'd be out in the community or at
Mhm.
my
Right.
Detroit Information Center that AARP has over on Woodward. And I was like, wow, I want to enjoy my kitchen
Mhm.
and cook
Mhm.
healthier meals for me and my husband and my family and my
Mhm.
friends.
Mhm.
We've spent more time with friends,
Mhm.
and enjoying friends, couples, and also I've spent more time where I'm not rushed with girlfriends who are either younger than me
Mhm.
or older than me.
Mhm.
Taking some of my mother's advice, always have friends who are younger than you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I've really been pouring into some of my daughter's friends who live here in Detroit. My daughter lives out of state. So I've just said, you're my friend now. And I come into some of their events. I don't embarrass them, but it
Uh-huh.
it
But
helps
I
me.
know they love having you there.
Oh, it's so funny. They're like, oh, here's Miss Lisa. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit with you guys, but let me walk in with you,
Uh-huh.
whatever. But I've really enjoyed sharing some of my lessons that I've learned in my life
Mhm.
with younger women,
Mhm.
and also learning from women who've lived more life for me than me, who are either my age or further along in their careers or in
Mhm.
their married life, or
Mhm.
or just in life in general. And it's just great to be able to talk to them and
Mhm.
say, can we sit down and talk? And I'm not in a rush, or I'm,
Mhm.
tethered to some of my electronics. And
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
another thing that I'm trying to do. I like how the phone will tell you how much screen time you
Yes.
have. That
Yes.
helps me
Mhm.
declutter my life
Mhm.
electronically, if you
Mhm.
could say so.
Mhm.
I don't watch the news. Another thing, I don't watch the news as much as I used to. I used to record 247 and
Mhm.
MSNBC, and
Mhm.
now I just watch certain shows and I plug into when I need to make sure that I'm connected with what's going
Right.
on in the world. But I'm really, really trying to be careful of what I take in physically and mentally and spiritually.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I forgot to mention, I love to sing. So I
Oh.
sing, I go to choir rehearsal, I'm not
Uh-huh.
late.
All right. So give me a little tune. What you sing? Come on.
Oh,
See, listen,
oh,
as you processing and think about it, but see, if you listen to any of my podcasts or you hear any of my interviews, anyone who even acts like they can carry a tune, I always ask
oh,
them to show
okay.
me.
What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. That was my mother's favorite hymn.
Mm.
I even sang
Thank
most of
you.
the music at my dad's funeral. He loved to hear me
Oh,
sing,
really?
and that was like my last chance to do something special
Now, were
for
you able to get through that?
I was. I was.
Mhm.
Now I fell apart after it was over, but
Uh-huh.
my dad and my mom were public folks. They volunteered. My dad was a missionary overseas. My mother was she said a urban missionary in Benton Harbor, where I'm from. And my parents were like, you serve. That's just a part of who we are, who they were, who I am, and who my daughter and my husband, who we are. And when we're on, not when we're on, but when you're serving Christ, we're serving, and it was kind of like serving Christ, but also serving Herb. That was my dad's name, Herb. So it was my last chance. So I was going to do my very best. But of course, later then I took to my bed.
Yeah, right. So I was going to ask you, you went through, the friends and spending more time on yourself. What about your career? Where is that now that you're 50 plus?
Where is my career? I'm going to be very transparent with you. I trust you, and I know your circle of women that you are connected with can maybe learn something from this experience. I was offered a national position at AARP in our national office, and it was right after my father passed. And this role was going to require me to be out of the city of Detroit the majority of the month and working and living in DC. And that one of my mentors told me, this is a jump. It's going to make your career. People are really going to get to see you on a national scale, what you're capable of doing, how you build programs, how you make connections with people. And I declined.
Okay.
I chose me.
Okay.
I chose me. I needed to take care of myself. I needed to, at this point, I feel if an opportunity is meant for me and the Lord wants to take me somewhere special in my career, He's going to open that door. But my spirit, and I prayed on it, I consulted with family, but I prayed on it.
Yes.
And it didn't sit well in my spirit. I love my employer. I've worked for them 9 years. And
I was going to ask, how long have you been with AARP? Everyone associates you. What did you do before, Lisa?
I was a fundraiser, a development officer, a director of development over at the Eugene Applebaum College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences at Wayne State.
Oh, okay.
So I used to help people give their treasure a place to connect with a mission, and now at AARP, I give people an opportunity to connect their time and their talent with the mission and at AARP. So it's still development in my quirky kind of way, but I was a major gift officer, public affairs type of thing, and when the opportunity at AARP came about, I was like, I want to try. And how I think it was a good sign, my first interview was on my birthday. And in our family, birthdays are really important days. So it was like a gift to myself, using my birthday, my day off, to take an interview with a potential employer. And it has been just that. It has been a gift. And so when AARP wanted to move me into this interim role, I was like, it's not sitting well with me. And I think in our careers, we, especially as Black women, when we see a bright light, sometimes we'll say, I'm going to do that because it may not come back again. But I, not to sound pompous, but I have enough faith in God and in my abilities that if there's another great opportunity like that, it will come, and it will come at the right time when all things are where they should be, personally, mentally, physically, and career-wise. So I, if you can tell, I'm kind of comfortable in my no, because in me saying no, as Gail Perry Mason shares with me, when you tell something no, that means you're saying yes to something else. And I said yes to Lisa.
And how empowering.
Yes. I mean, I was like,
go girl. Yeah, I can say no, right. And I think the whole notion of something coming around again is very real. It is very real, particularly because as talented as you are,
Thank you.
you know, all of the contributions you've made, stuff's gonna come back around, back around, back around. So, you know, so you're considered really an expert, um, a practitioner in the field of aging. So I got some questions.
Come on. I hope I
So
have answers.
you
If
do.
not,
I
I
know
know
you do.
somebody who does.
I know. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's where you're gonna go places, you know, because see, that's the perfect response. If I don't have it, I'll find out, or I know somebody who does. That's a beautiful tip. Um, so talk to me about language.
Sure.
You know, are we older adults? Are we aging? Are we seniors? Uh, what's the language? What's the politically correct language?
As an aging professional, the politically correct language would be older adult.
Okay.
Some people see themselves as seniors. I think it's more a frame of a mind frame
Okay.
where your mind is.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of older adults who are my dear friends. They're 80 years old and
Mm-hmm.
they get offended when you call them a senior.
Right. Right.
But AARP has done a lot of research around language
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
preferred labels for aging, and older adult is our sweet spot that we try to
Okay.
stay within,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes senior has a negative connotation to it.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
means you're not able to do certain things, or you're not
Mm-hmm.
able to experience certain things, and that could be further from the truth.
Exactly. Okay.
Just the other day, I'll share this. I was at an event with one of my 30-year-olds,
Uh-huh.
and she was crossing into a sorority, and one of her sisters who pledged with her was
Mm-hmm.
84 years old.
Oh my goodness. How
84 years old. The crowd went wild.
I'm sure.
I mean, they
I'm
went
sure.
wild.
Yes.
Share this, but to me, that's where she realized, this 84-year-old woman that I do want to meet, that I plan on meeting soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She realized the dream that she had. But just think, if someone said, oh, she's a senior, she can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's an older adult.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes will help break down barriers, if there were any, but obviously there weren't any, but
Right.
using that as an example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for example, older adults, in some of the way we approach programming from an AARP's perspective, we try to do things not always in the daytime, because older adults are working. They're on their second career, on their third career, or their fourth career, or they're using a passion to create an entrepreneurial space for themselves
Mm-hmm.
on something that they're passionate about, writing, baking, whatever it may be. And so you have to create programs and opportunities for folks to connect at times that they're more available, because just because you're over 60 doesn't mean you're free in the middle of the day.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think that's the way society has put that connotation. Well, just because someone is 60 or 65 or what have you, they are free in the daytime and they
Right.
want to go to a senior center.
Right.
And a
It's like
senior
those
center,
stereotypes.
those stereotypes, and
Mm-hmm.
ageism is real. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, ageism is real even for folks in their 40s,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the career space. Ageism is real. It's unfortunate, but it is real.
Mm-hmm. So if I were to refer then to, let's say I'm writing a blog, which I do, or I'm doing a post or something, and I want to target those who are 50 plus, me saying, dear older American, or dear, this is for you, older adults, that would be politically correct.
Oh, sure. Or
Okay.
fabulous 50 plus. Just say the
Okay.
50 plus.
Now that is now see, that I was going to get, because see, I believe in that, you know, because I'm that 50 plus. I mean, I believe in, you know, a vibrant life. You know, it's
Yes.
about being vibrant, and so the fabulous 50. Yes, I call my vibrant queens.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So
And turning 50 is still seen as a positive, and some folks who try to see it as a negative, when they'll like invite me to come to an event or something, and they'll say like 50 is a bad thing, and I said, it's when you don't get birthdays, that's when you have a
I
problem.
know that's right. Yeah. I want to keep celebrating.
I want to keep celebrating.
Keep celebrating those birthdays, you know.
Yeah.
So tell me, Lisa, what would you say are the top one or two challenges that older adults face?
When they have to either leave if they retire early,
Mm-hmm.
meaning retire young before 65, before being, or 62, which is your Social Security eligibility ages, and they have to go back into the workforce.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A lot of times they're not familiar unless they've kept up with technology.
Mm-hmm.
The new process to go into the workforce is different,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be a big barrier. The online, not the face-to-face until later on into the process. A lot of times now in searches, you don't see a person. You may hear a voice through a phone interview or a Skype. That might be the most face-to-face that you may get until you get further along in the process, and that can be a little daunting. I think health and financial security, which to me go together,
Okay.
because if you don't protect your health, at AARP, we recommend that you save at least anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 just for the health care protection piece. And if you start working on your health with your chronic diseases, lose at least 10% of your body weight, um, uh, become more active, because sitting is the new smoking. Stop smoking if you do, and those things will help protect your financial security as you age, because if you're not spending as much money on those chronic illnesses and the things that go along with chronic illnesses, you will have a better health financial picture as you age. And people, the person that at AARP, we say the person who's going to live to 110 was born already. They're born. They're going to live. We're all, but the quality of the
Yes.
aging process is your issue. Medical interventions can keep you alive till you're 90. What is going to be the quality of your life at that age? Are you going to be bedridden? Are you going to be,
Vibrant. Yeah.
Yes, we want to be vibrant.
Right.
So how we do that is walking, becoming
That was
healthy,
okay.
and also dealing with isolation. That's something that is
Talk about that, because
a passion for me.
yes, because you led right into, because as you talk about, well, these are the challenges, they're real. I love how you connected the health and finances, because it's hand in glove, hand in glove. A lot of people don't look at it like that. They will separate it out and then maybe deal with it separately, but it's hand in glove, particularly if healthcare usually is the number one financial issue you're going to change. So I was going to ask you, and you lead it right into it. Okay, so we can live longer, but we want to live vibrantly. What are, from you, you're this top flight professional.
Thank
You
you.
know your stuff.
Thank you.
What are the top 3 things that people need to do to live a vibrant life as they age,
Well,
as they get older?
they get older. They need to put a plan in place on who will care for them, or how will caregiving take place in their life if they need it.
Okay.
Secondly, save. Try to protect your financial security through protecting your health, and of course saving as you can, limiting your debt as much as you can. And then the third one, which is third but it could be seen as first, create a circle of friends and family around you. I know a lot of older adults that I interface with through my work. Their AARP family is their family. because their children have predeceased them.
Mhm.
Their spouses or partners have predeceased them. And when we create friends, as you know, that friend family, sometimes it can go thicker than that blood sometimes.
Mhm.
And also using some advice that my mother always said, have friends that are younger than you.
Mhm.
Not that you want them to care for you,
Mhm.
but to interact with you and keep you
Yes.
fresh, as
Right.
well as they might bring a passion that you always had. A
Mhm.
younger person or a person who's the same age as you or a little younger may spark that in in
Mhm.
your life. I
Yeah.
also feel that this is truly Lisa's opinion, that have a hobby,
Mhm.
something that brings you joy, but also try to find something that helps you with your brain health.
Okay.
For example, singing is good for your brain health for
Mhm.
several reasons. You have to memorize the words, you have
Mhm.
to memorize the melody, the pattern, the timing.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are multiple things, and that helps
Mhm.
keep those pathways fresh in your brain. So I'm
Mhm.
just using that as an example. Even if
Yeah.
you're not a good singer, just the
Okay.
part of singing, and also when you're singing, if you do it in a choir,
Mhm.
you break down isolation because
Yes.
you're doing it with other people. It
Mhm.
allows you to meet and make friends with other people. I also, that's a way you can get a twofer. You break down
Mhm.
isolation, especially if it's a hobby or a group, or start your own group. There's a
Mhm.
lot of groups, Red Hatters,
Mhm.
your places of worship,
Mhm.
but you can start your own group
Mhm. Mhm.
or create your own community like you have.
Mhm. 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 Yeah,
And I think
I just love it, and a lot too, I think, has to do with stepping outside. Even at any age, I believe you can step outside your comfort zone and create possibilities and do things that you've dreamed about, always dreamed about. When I became part of the Miss Black Fit and Fine beauty
Mhm.
pageant, people were saying, oh, wow. They were just like, wow. But a lot of them were like looking at me like saying, at your age,
Oh, great.
and some
You're gorgeous.
actually said it, at your
Gorgeous.
age. And frankly, that really pushed me more to do it.
Good. Good.
Of course, I'd never done anything like that in my life,
Mhm.
but the experience, what I had to go through, the process, the discipline, I was competing. Everyone else was younger than me. And
Good.
so and they were, much, much thinner. I'm still very curvy. And so, the differences were big differences. But the process, I
Mhm.
found myself, every day that I would take a part of it, I found myself more alive, more vibrant, and more, just that whole process of doing things and the connections. I
Yes.
think you're so right with that. In fact, I was reading some study from Harvard because I think all the research now is is aligned, saying that probably one of the number one things in terms of, staying vibrant, you know, having that quality of life is connections,
Mhm. Yeah.
our social connections.
And just to take it one step further,
Mm-hmm.
there's some research that's bubbling up now around communal living as you're getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it good for the isolation piece, it's good financially.
Yes,
My
yes.
cousin and I, we all are around the same age. We're like
Mm-hmm.
50s, 60s, some
Mm-hmm.
early 70s. We always say we're going to get rid of all the men and have a commune and
Mm-hmm.
live in a
Yes,
big house together.
yes,
That the Golden Girls, like using the television show,
yes.
that's a healthy
Mm-hmm.
model
Yes,
for women to
yes.
remain vibrant, to
Mm-hmm.
stay supported, because you're
Mm-hmm.
supported, not just for the financial benefit of living communally,
Mm-hmm.
but you can have that support around you and not feel like you're going through things alone. In isolation, think about a plant. If you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
deny a plant of water, sunlight, air, it'll die. A child, a baby will fail to thrive if it's not
Exactly.
given love and attention when it's, when it's in those very formative months after being born. That same thing happens as we age.
Yes.
And I always say, I thank the Lord for trusting me to give me this job, that I have the opportunity that sometimes an older adult that I may run across here in my travels, this may be the only time they laugh at me and my silliness out on the stage, or when we say something funny, or when we bring them together and they're having a nice, refreshment, or learning something new, or hearing something new for the first time with others, and meeting people that brought them joy. And that's important to continue to make those connections in this, not only in our community, but in our city, but especially women of color as we're aging, because sometimes we really can get isolated, and that's not good.
Is there speaking of women of color and aging, is there a difference between women of color who age and women who are not of color, white women? Are there one or two differences in our aging process, things that happen to us?
One of the things that we say at AARP is that the aging process physically is similar across the cultures, across, Caucasian, African American, our bodies are, similar, but our cultural influences affect how we age, especially not only it affects our financial outlook, because Black women don't have the same amount of financial security as their white counterparts, because a lot of times we don't make, the disparities in our income levels, and also disparities in access to opportunities. I don't have to tell you that you've shattered a lot of ceilings, but I know when you looked around sometime, you were maybe by yourself.
Right.
And you had to open doors for other women to come in. So that disparity economically influences how we're going to age in comparison to our white sisters. But also, I look at the work that I do in the Asian American, Arab American, and Latino American communities. They are more, in my experience, they're more embracing to their older women in the community. Their communities kind of stick together a little more. I think at a certain aspect, African Americans, we do, but I don't see it at the same level of my Arab and Asian and Latina sisters. I think there's where we still have some work to do. I think I have hope, because our millennials, and I love millennials. I'm not one of the millennial bashers, because I have one, and I guess I had the experience of being around them as they developed, my daughter and a lot of her friends. But millennial women that I see are supportive to one another. They are like, it's okay to cry, or it's okay if things aren't going the way you want. I'm here to support you. Where sometimes I have experienced in my lifetime where it's that competitiveness.
Yes.
Where
Rather
these
than the collaboration. Yes.
they're all about, it's enough money for everybody, because it is.
Absolutely.
But I'm not a boomer. I'm the oldest in the Gen X.
Gen X. Okay.
I'm the oldest of the Gen X, and we're competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of us, but there's a theme that goes through that. So, sometimes you're like, is she really trying to help me? Or is she really?
Right.
But then that's where you have to really have your circle. Your circle of sisters who have your back and who want to help open doors, and you're going to help open doors for them and support one another. But I think holistically, I'm hoping and staying hopeful that this wave that I'm seeing of collaboration and connectivity that the millennial women, and especially young women of color, are showing, that will help push and go forward, because we're going to need them, because they're going to be faced with all of these older adults, because people just aren't having children at the same rate
Right.
as they did in the past. So my age group, your age group, and the age group just immediately behind me, before you get to those X and Y's,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be the silver tsunami, and it's going to be fabulous.
That's right. Vibrant and
It's
fabulous.
going to be vibrant and fabulous, and we're going to be doing things at 80 and 90 and 100.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
these millennials will be the middle agers,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to have to be. So I think that will help in how they will come up with solutions, how to help take care of us. But I always feel, you need to prepare yourself. How are you going to be cared for, and how you want to live your life vibrantly
Mm-hmm.
as you age? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you don't plan, we plan for picnics, we
That's
plan
right.
for uh,
Everything.
everything. We
Right.
don't plan about how we want to live our lives. So I just
Mm-hmm.
love what you're doing to help women focus in on, how do I achieve it? Just not say it, but what give me some guidance to help me do that.
Yeah, and I think I really do agree with you. I think you need a plan. You need a blueprint. And one of the things I know for sure is that great things can happen with intention.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're intentionally, if you focus, if you're disciplined in thinking about, well, what's my next step going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
Or what's, up next for me? How can I put a plan together? And you actually take some time to think about it and be
Yes.
very intentional about implementing. Great things can happen. And I know this for sure. I also think that I do believe that one of a person's greatest assets is what I call a beginner's mind. That
Mm.
is that an individual is always curious, growing, learning at any age. Like Lena Horne said, I haven't learned enough. At 80, I still
Mm.
need to learn more. And
Yeah.
it's that kind of, attitude. But Lisa, I could talk to you all day, but and I know we got to wind down, but I know that May is Older Americans Month.
Yes.
And so what should we be doing during Older Americans Month? I mean, how should we be recognizing or celebrating this time? When you have Black History Month or Women's History Month, there are all kinds of plans. Everybody thinks about it, everybody plans for it,
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows it. I'm not sure everybody knows about Older Americans Month in May and all that. So what should we be doing? What should we be thinking about?
Oh, there's so many different activities that you can
Ooh,
participate
okay.
in. One of them that really comes to mind, that is important, that I think we as older adults, we need to be more active around our legislative and advocacy efforts
Mm,
around our issues. Uh,
okay.
Michiganians Day is when older folks march down on the Capitol in Lansing. They have a
Okay.
beautiful picnic on the lawn. It's hosted by the statewide area agencies on aging.
Mhm.
And that's where you see older adults from 50 plus to 101
Mhm.
there on the
When is
lawn.
that?
It's usually May 16th or May
Okay, around
15th. It's
there.
in the
Mhm.
middle of the month.
Okay.
And it's open to the public.
Mhm.
Anyone can participate, and the state capitol is where a lot of decisions are made that affect us locally.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
at older adults, if we need to know what our issues are and how do we engage around those issues and let our voice be heard, of course, in the ballot box when you vote, but also these are opportunities, friendly opportunities for you
Yeah.
to be able to say, hey, this is important to me. And you can meet your legislators that
Mhm.
come out of the Capitol to greet all the
Mhm.
older adults that convene on the Capitol lawn.
Mhm.
Uh, just ARP, we're going to honor women veterans in May. We're having a reception for
Mhm.
women who have served in the military
Mhm.
at Fellowship Chapel in the Huff
Oh,
Memorial Room. We
okay.
want to
It's my
take a moment.
church.
Oh, I didn't know you belonged there.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes. And we want to take a moment to honor women who served in the armed
Oh,
forces,
that is
especially
wonderful.
our older
Yes.
adults, because they really went uncelebrated. And we wanted
Mhm.
to do that in the month of May. And also, just it starts with you.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
older adult or someone in your life that you look up to, that you can take a moment and say, I recognize you, or have something at your church or at your
Yes.
place of worship, or
Mhm.
in your group, or someone that you all know who's an older adult and you haven't seen them lately. Have
Mhm.
coffee and bring them.
Yes.
Going to celebrate you.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Lisa Whitmore Davis, I have just enjoyed this conversation so much. You are such an asset, a jewel
Thank you.
to all
Thank
of us. And we're just so blessed to have you as one of our leaders
thank you.
in the community, one of our influential women, one of our vibrant women. And so I just want to thank you for spending this time with me.
Thank you for the opportunity. I've always revered your career. You are not only are you beautiful, you got brains and beauty. I mean, and you touch people, you bring folks together. I'm just happy that I was able to have this time with you, and I look forward to us continuing our conversation online and offline.
Okay, that's great. So, as you see, I told you that I would be bringing you another fabulous, vibrant woman. And again, I think we're so blessed to know people like Lisa Whitmore Davis, someone who's smart, who's a practitioner, who knows what she's talking about and is willing to share it, and is also willing to talk about her life and what she's going through, particularly becoming 50. Because the things she describes, many women go through. I'm not sure how many of them, however, like her, got a plan. She doesn't have it all figured out, but she's working on it. She's doing it with intent, and she's doing it with a bright spirit and hope and optimism. And some of us face the future with despair or think that we can't get it done. That is not true. The world is full of endless possibilities. And one thing I know for sure, you can create anything. If you want to have a conversation with me or want to learn about my Vibrant Life Blueprint, I invite you to come to drgenevaspeaks.com at any time, and there'll be plenty of stuff there for you if you want to learn it through video, if you want to have a one-on-one conversation with me, or very soon I'm going to be starting some group coaching sessions. So however you want to connect, let's do it. But one thing I want you to do, if you do nothing else, stay vibrant. Bye.
Bye bye.